Good morning. Good morning. This is Cassandra, and I just wanted to come on and share a little bit about what I've been up to recently. Of course, there have been multiple protests that I've been a part of in the last month, I think, from Ahmaud Arbery to George, uh, Brianna. So it's been, really busy as far as um, getting out and standing for what I believe. And that's from the voting suppression that we saw in Georgia in this election that we just had, and then the murders of black men and women around the country. So I wanted to come on and talk a little bit because, as many of you know, I am the director of the Moores Ford Bridge lynching reenactment, which is the only lynching reenactment in the world. I don't know whether I'm proud to say that, but it is a distinction that I can say I've been blessed to be able to do. The Moores Ford Bridge lynching reenactment is the story of the history, not a story, but the history of the Malcolms and the Dorseys, two African American couples that were lynched in 1946 in Monroe, Georgia. So Georgia has the awful um, bragging rights of having the last unsolved mass lynching in U.S. history. So we commemorate the lives of Dorothy, Mae Murray, George, and Roger when we do the reenactment in Monroe every year. This year will be my 12th year directing the Moores Ford Bridge lynching reenactment. It has been done. I believe this will be the 17th. No, the 15th year, 15th or 16th year. But I've been very blessed to be a part of, to be able to direct the awesome people that are part of Moores Ford Bridge lynching. Um, Dr. Charles Steele, who is the national president of Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC, and Representative Tyrone Brooks, who actually came and asked me would I be a part of the Moores Ford Bridge lynching, and I was a little hesitant, but I did end up doing it. And the reason I was so hesitant is because I was still healing from a racially motivated incident that I went through in 1989 in Charleston, South Carolina, which is my hometown, where a group of white men came at me because I was standing up for. That's always been my thing. I will stand against injustice and inequality. It doesn't matter where it is or what situation it sometimes puts me in. But there was an interracial couple that moves into my neighborhood. The group did not like it, and so they were attacking, verbally attacking the wife, and even shot through the window of their home on one occasion. And they had a 6-month-old baby. So, anyone could have been killed or hurt in that incident. And so then I took it upon myself to reach out to NAACP, who intervened. But anyway, um, one night, while I was in my home, I thought I heard someone in my yard or something saying something in my yard. So I went to the door and opened the door, and one of my neighbors, white neighbors, was standing there with a shotgun pointed at my door and called me a nigger bitch. And if you don't get out of this neighborhood, I'm going to kill you. And I slammed my door, hit the floor, and was so terrified that I could not. My phone was maybe 10 feet away from me. I was afraid to crawl over to my phone to call the police. So that night, as I laid on the floor, I thought about what my people have gone through for years, the fear that they must have felt when whites came for them for no reason or any reason that they choose to, no matter how trivial it was. Sometimes they were just looking for to pick a nigga to do harm to. So for that reason, when I was asked to do Moore's Ford Bridge, I was very apprehensive. Oh, but the neighbor was arrested that next day when I was able to get off of my floor. The next morning, I called the police. He was arrested. We ended up not going to court. There was a court date set, but Hurricane Hugo hit that year. This happened in July. Hurricane Hugo hit, and I believe it was October of that year. And our court date was 2 days after Hugo hit. So everything was just about destroyed. So there was no court to go to, nothing. People were just trying to survive. So that's why we never went to court. And after the hurricane hit, I could not stand being in Charleston any longer. And that is why I left Charleston in 1989. So and I never really, at that point, I had not healed from that pain that I felt, sleeping on my own floor because of fear. So when Representative Tyrone Brooks came to me to ask me about doing Moore's Ford Bridge, because I was doing plays, and he'd heard about me through somebody, and my thought was making a lynching. And in my head, I said, making a lynching? What the hell? And I didn't say it out to them, but that's what I was thinking. So I thought about it. I told Representative Brooks that I would do it. And now this year will be 12 years in. The reason I'm mentioning all of this is because this year, with the pandemic going on, but also with the pandemic of racism, the pandemic of voter suppression going on, I feel like it's more important, as well as my cast and crew, that we bring Moore's Ford Bridge to people, the lesson that can be learned from it. Moore's Ford Bridge has never been about keeping people divided, as people that don't want the history told will say. Moore's Ford Bridge is about putting our history out there so that people will know the types of things that have happened and are still happening in our communities. And so my resolve for all of this is to keep the story of Moore's Ford Bridge going. Miss Hattie Lawson, who's our coordinator, has already set up the permits and everything for this year. Representative Tyrone Brooks, retired Representative Tyrone Brooks, has given the go. So we are ready to do this again. I'm reaching out because I'm asking for help. This is the second time out of the 12 years that I have done Moore's Ford Bridge that I've asked for any help. Normally, I use a lot of my money buying costumes, doing food, along with some of my actors who will chip in and give what they can to help. But this year we have to put in certain guidelines. We won't be inside this year at all. Everything will be done outside this year because of safety. We want to stay safe for everyone. So we will be outside. You don't want to miss this history. It's about reconciling, not keeping people divided. But if we don't talk about the history, then how do we come on one accord? We can't. So I'm asking, my white friends, my black friends, my Hispanic friends, I'm asking you to come out to Moores Ford Bridge lynching reenactment this year. I pray that this person will be okay where the ambulance is going, and come out and be a part of history. And once you see this reenactment, you will see how powerful it is, and the kind of fear and hatred that was out at that time. So what I'm doing is I am going to put up a GoFundMe account this year for Moores Ford Bridge. Like I said, this is only the second time in the 12 years that I've done it that I've asked for help. So even even if you do $2, if you do $1, whatever you can do to help us, secure the food, the costumes, the props. We have props from last year. We need to add to that. Um, we need to have uh, gloves and masks, and for people that don't come, we're asking people to wear masks, but we also want to have masks available. We want to have gloves available. We need to have water there, Gatorade, all of these things, snacks. So I'm asking, you may not be able to be a part of the reenactment uh, by participating in it, but you can participate by donating what you can to help us keep this history alive. Attorney Joe Bell, if you guys don't know this, Attorney Joe Bell is fighting on behalf of Marion Pitch and Mr. Anthony Pitch, who started the proceedings to have the grand jury transcripts from Moores Ford Bridge released. Mr. Pitch transitioned on last year, but Marion Pitch is still continuing the fight to have the transcripts released. Right now, Mr. Joe Bell, who is an attorney out of New Jersey, is still carrying on the fight and is trying to get the Moores Ford Bridge case before the Supreme Court, because we've exhausted state level, local level, trying to, get something done. So now we are forging toward the Supreme Court. So if you guys don't understand how unprecedented that is, you need to look it up. So we need to keep Moores Ford Bridge going, so that when even the courts, if they do their research, and I'm sure they will, the Supreme Court, they will see how we have the family and people that care about our history have continued to fight the fight of faith, even 70 years after these two young couples were massacred on a field in Monroe, Georgia. You got to see it, guys. But if you can't make it, would you consider making a donation so that we can continue the history of the Malcolms and the Dorseys and the injustice that was done to them? Because we know that the transcripts hold the key to the people that were involved in their murders. So this is Cassandra asking you, whatever you can do to help us this year, please do. And if you can make it out, I would love to see you come out, bring your children. I really suggest that you don't bring children maybe under 8, because they it may scare them. The final scene where the guns are going off, but it is our history, and you can't get away from that. I just spoke to Dr. Susan Pers, who has kept an amazing history of Moores Ford Bridge and has spoken to key characters, key people that have working for and have worked for years for justice for the Malcolms and the Dorseys. And we are going to continue. I would love for you to see some of the videos that she's done. I will be posting that as well because there are people of all races still fighting to see justice. So, blessings. I hope that you guys have a great day. Hopefully, I'll be able to rest today. I've been doing quite a bit of protesting. Yesterday, I spoke at Juneteenth Atlanta in downtown Atlanta. It was just amazing. The young people were so excited about the fight for justice and equality. And I think that we all owe it to ourselves to see that we never forget that justice and equality is not an American dream for everyone. Blessings, take care, and I hope that you give to our GoFundMe account this year. Have a good one.